All right, so today what we are focusing on is we are going to identify and continue patterns. So we're going to be looking at patterns of numbers. And we're going to understand the difference between an arithmetic and a geometric sequence and their formulas as well. So, a sequence is a list of numbers, generally numbers, that often forms a pattern. So, the initial amount always happens at 0. But this is the sequence of numbers. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. The term is talking about the position in a sequence. So term 4 is 8. Or term 8 is 16. Okay, that's what it means by term. Okay, an arithmetic sequence is linear. It's a sequence that adds or subtracts the same number over and over and over again. This is known as the common difference. All right. Okay, an arithmetic sequence, we just talked about this, common difference. In case you didn't catch it the first time, you can definitely write it down now. Okay, so here's our sequence. We've got 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, and 26. So this is an example of it. So this is function notation. We've got f of 1. That's what that means. Our subscript notation would be a sub 1, because it's talking about the first term. This is term 1 is 6. Term 2 is 10. Term 3 is 14. Term 4 is 18. And term 5 is 22. All right? Okay, geometric sequence is exponential. This is a sequence that multiplies or divides by the same number. This number is known as the common ratio. Okay, and it's the same idea. We've got f of 1 or a sub 1. That just means the same thing. It just means you're talking about the first term. The first term in this particular sequence is 3. Then the next term is 6, then 12, then 24, then 48. What's happening here every single time is we're taking the term before and we're multiplying by 2. Right? Just like how in the last one we were adding 4 every single time. Okay? So for each of the following, we're going to answer these questions. Is the sequence increasing or decreasing? What is the common difference or ratio? So it's D for common difference or R for ratio. Is it arithmetic or geometric? Remember, arithmetic is adding or subtracting. Geometric is multiplying or dividing. And neither means it's doing something completely different. Okay? And then what is the first term? And what should be the next term? Okay, those are all the questions we're going to be answering as we go through. Okay, so on this first one, it goes 12, 8, 4, 0. So is that increasing or decreasing? Hopefully you noticed it's decreasing. Then it says, what is the common difference or ratio, depending? So this one is going 12 to 8. Well, that's subtracting by 4. Then it goes 8 to 4. That's also subtracting by 4. Then 4 to 0. That's also subtracting by 4. So there's a common difference of minus 4. Okay, so this means this is an arithmetic sequence because we're subtracting every single time. Okay, and the first term is 12, and the next term, so this would be a sub 1, and the next term would be a sub 1, 2, 3, 4, a sub 5 would be negative 4. All right, let's try this again. Let's look at this next one. So it goes 64, 32, 16, 8. So this one is also decreasing. And 64 to 32 is minus 32. 32 to 16 is minus 16. It's not subtracting the same thing every time, so we're going to have to try something else. Maybe you notice that it's dividing by 2. So 16 to 8 is also dividing by 2. So this is a ratio, and because we're dividing by 2, it's a ratio of 1/2. You can find this by taking the number, so a number later in the pattern, and dividing it by the number before in the pattern. Okay, so if we take 32 and we divide by 64, we'll end up with 1/2 if we actually reduce that fraction. Okay, because we're dividing, this is a geometric sequence. And the first term, or a sub 1, is 64. And the next term, which would be a sub 5, if we take 8 and divide by 2, we would get 4. All right, I want you guys to go ahead and try these two out. So you're going to figure out if it's increasing or decreasing, decide if it has a common ratio or difference. If it has a common ratio, you're going to go with geometric. Ratio means multiplying and dividing. If it has a common difference, you're going to go with arithmetic. That means adding and subtracting. If it's not doing either of those things, then you would say neither. If there isn't a common difference or ratio, write NA, just so you're aware. And then the first term and the last term, or the next term in the sequence. You should be able to follow the pattern even if it's neither. Okay, and then I want you guys to go ahead and try these two as well, and we'll come back together here.